my soul worship his holy name. Sing like never before, oh my soul, I'll worship your holy name.
Good morning, you guys. We're so glad you're here. It's a little bit different on stage today. We're going with a small set. And I don't know about you guys, but the holidays for us are wonderful and crazy, all in one beautiful, chaotic mess. And so today, I hope that for you, you're able to sit back and take a breath and just relax as we worship together. I hope that it's something that can be soothing to your soul. I pray that God is refreshing us as we meet together and as we join together in song. So just relax, sit back if you want to. But I pray that you will find rest in this worship set this morning as we're together.
The sun comes up, it's a new day dawning. It's time to sing your song again. Whatever may pass and whatever lies before me, let me be singing when the evening comes. You're rich in love. You're rich in love and you're slow to anger. Your name is great and your heart is kind. For all your goodness I will keep on singing. 10,000 reasons for my heart to find. Bless the Lord. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul, worship his holy name. Sing like never before, and oh my soul, I'll worship your holy name. And on that day when my strength is failing, the end draws near and my time has come, still my soul will sing your praise unending. 10,000 years and then forevermore, forevermore. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul, worship his holy name. Sing like never before, and oh my soul, I'll worship your holy name. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul.
God is so good. He's so compassionate. There's a verse in Psalms. Let me just read it to us. It's Psalm 100. It says, "Shout for joy to the Lord, all the earth. Worship him with gladness. Come before him with song. Know that the Lord is good. It is he who made us. We are his. We are his people, the sheep of his pasture. Enter his gates with thanksgiving and his courts with praise. Give thanks to him and praise his name. For the Lord is good, and his love endures forever. His faithfulness continues through all generations." Thank you, God.
Worthy of every song we could ever sing. Worthy of all the praise we could ever bring. Worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you. Jesus, the name above every other name. Jesus, the only one who could ever save. Worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you. We live for you. And holy, there is no one like you. There is none beside you. Open up my eyes in wonder. Show me who you are and fill me with your heart and lead me in your love to those around me. Worthy of every song we could ever sing. You're worthy of all the praise we could ever bring. Worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you. We live for you. Oh, Jesus, the name above every other name. Jesus, the only one who could ever save. Oh, you're worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you. Oh, we live for you. Yes, holy, there is no one like you. There is none beside you. Open up my eyes in wonder. Show
lives upon your love. Your love that sacrificed it all. Your love that makes a way where there seems to be no way. Your love that rescues us from darkness, that pulls us out of muck and mire and sets us on a rock. Your love that is a firm foundation for us to stand on when all other footing is loose. God, when everything else gives way, when the earth shakes and the ground is loose beneath our feet, God, we stand on you and your ways and your nature, God. A love that came down in the midst of sin and found beauty and called it out into being. A love that believes in us when we have lost faith in ourselves, God. A love that sees us through. God, we stand on that this morning. When the earth gives way, we stand on you. Because you are enough. You are our sustainer and our redeemer. You are our way. Thank you, God, for meeting us in the midst of our mess, in the midst of our chaos and our toil, God. Thank you for coming and breathing life and light and hope into our lives. God of creation, there at the start, before the beginning of time. With no point of reference, you spoke to the dark and fleshed out the wonder of light. And as you speak, 100 billion galaxies are born. In the vapor of your breath, the planets form. If the stars were made to worship, so will I can see your heart in everything you made. Every burning star, a signal fire of grace. If creation sings your praises, so will I. Don't speak in vain, no syllable empty or void. For once you have spoken, all nature and science follows the sound of your voice. And as you speak, 100 billion creatures catch your breath, evolving in pursuit of what you said. If it all reveals your nature so alive, I can see your heart in everything you say. Every painted a canvas of your grace. If creation still obeys you, so will I.
stars were made to worship, so will I. If the mountains bow in reverence, so will I. If the oceans roar your greatness, so will I. For if everything exists to lift you high, so will I. If the wind goes where you send it, so will I. If the rocks cry out in silence, so will I. Oh, if the sum of all your praise still falls shine, we'll sing again 100 billion times. On a hill you created, the light of the world, abandoned in darkness to die. And as you speak, 100 billion failures disappear. Where you lost your life so I could find mine here. If you left the grave behind you, so will I can see your heart in everything you've done. Every part designed in a work of art called love. If you gladly chose surrender, so will I can see your heart 100 billion ways. Every precious child you died to save. If you gave your life to love them, so will I. Like you would again 100 billion times. Though a measure could amount to your desire, you're the one who never leaves the one behind.
I love New Year's. I love just the symbolism of a fresh start. For me, it's like when I get a new book, that first time you crack open the spine, and you maybe read the synopsis so you have an idea of how it's going to go, but you really don't know the details. That's what New Year's is for me, and I've had a rocky start. You know, it's only been a week, but it's been a little rough. But I just have hope, because what the worship team was singing about was that God is a phenomenal artist. He is just beyond creative. And he is writing our stories in ways that we cannot even begin to imagine. And so I just wanted to say a quick prayer for myself and just for you. And I want to pray about the end of this year as we're looking at 2019. And I want to pray about what the conclusion would be for us. Father, thank you for your faithfulness to us. your artistry and the ways that you take the details of our story and you weave them together into something beautiful.
Yes, God.
Thank you for joy and hope and peace that moves beyond all our comprehension. Yeah. Let it be said of us at the end of this year that we have walked with hope and faith and joy and love and peace and compassion and selflessness. Yeah. That we would be your artistry and reflect your love to one another and the world around us. Thank you, Jesus, for your faithfulness. Help us to rest in your creativity. Yeah. Thank you, Jesus. Amen. Amen. You can be seated. I'm just going to pull it in. I'm going to reel it together. I really do love New Year's. Welcome to New Hope Lucas. We are so glad to see all of you. So glad that you decided to kick off the year with us. I hope that you feel just loved, that when you walked in the door that someone greeted you, handed you a program, or shook your hand, and that you felt welcome and wanted, because that is truly, truly our desire. If you are a first-time visitor, I hope you received a program on your way in. If you didn't, the ushers are going to come down the aisles. There's a little tear-off on the bottom just for you to give us your contact information. We'd love to connect with you and share with you just who we are and learn more about you. Also, if you have any prayer requests or need of anything, please fill that out on the bottom, and you can drop it in the offering at the end of the service. I do have just a few announcements to share with you this morning. The first one is about Financial Peace University. New Hope Wiley is going to be hosting that, and it's a good way if you're, one of your goals in 2018 was financial freedom. This is a great opportunity for you to engage in some classes and support to help you on that journey. That starts on January 17th, and you can register at newhopechristian.org. My second announcement is about our starting point class that we are going to have here at 9:15 on January 21st. If you've been coming to New Hope Lucas for a couple of weeks or just started, this is your first Sunday, this is a great class for you to learn more about who we are and for us to connect with you just on a face-to-face. Sometimes, in the setup and the hustle and bustle of the morning, we don't have a chance to do that, so that's a great opportunity for you to join us for that. Okay? And then my last announcement, today is First Sunday, and here at New Hope Lucas, that is a really exciting time. We have lots of fun things happening today. It's a jam-packed Sunday, but one of my favorite parts of First Sunday is our potluck. It's just a community meal. We all brought food. We're going to sit down and have a meal, lunch together. If this is your first time and you're just visiting, it's an open invitation. You are invited. You are welcome. There is food aplenty, and if there's not, we will order more. Got it? So please stay after. We're going to enjoy lunch together, okay? Why don't we stand and greet one another and make sure everyone feels welcome this morning? Who is... Is it Bruce or Lisa? Lisa, okay. Hey, good morning. Hey, good morning. How are you? Good to see you. Good to see you.
Hey, thanks.
You're welcome.
Good job. I love your prayer.
Thanks.
It was like when you were praying, I was like, Lord, this is what I needed my prayer to be. So it fit right perfect with everything I've got going on. So thank you. Hey, good morning.
Morning.
How are you?
Good.
He has glasses and a black shirt, and he's right back through there. He's got little white stripes on his shirt, so he's right in that back area over there.
Can y'all hear me? Am I on? Oh, there we go. Boom, boom, boom. I remembered with 1 minute and 10 seconds before the service started that I need to get a microphone, so we didn't do a test. Sorry about that. So anyway, well, welcome. I'm really, really glad to have all of you. It looks like Curtis has lots of people that love him. Curtis Nelson is our good friend, and he's getting baptized later in our service. So yeah, give him a hand. Pretty amazing, but apparently he's got lots of fans and friends and family, so really, really glad to have all of you. And, I wanted to kind of name right here at the beginning. Well, first, also, welcome those joining us online. Any of you traveling people or people who are feeling under the weather, you're not able to be here, welcome, we love you. And for those of you visiting, if this is like your first time, or you're just kind of, you're new here, I just want you to know, like, if you don't have a place where you feel welcomed and loved exactly where you are right now at this point in your life, we want to be that place for you. Jesus was one of the most hospitable, welcoming, he was the most compassionate. He was amazing. And as I read the Gospels, like, I'm just inspired in who we want to be. We want to extend that welcome. Like, this is who we want to be. So I hope you felt that. And honestly, I feel a little bit like I don't even need to preach a message right now. After what just happened up here, that was so incredibly powerful. That was the word of God, my friends. That's his heart for us. So incredibly beautiful. But I'll go and I'll piggyback on it. All right, we'll consider that kind of. This is the message continues with the title of my sermon today is The Script. The Script. And there was a movie. It came out in 1998 now, almost 20 years ago, which is going to freak some of you out because you remember this movie well. It was The Truman Show. Anyone remember this? If anyone probably any high schoolers or below is just like, what are you talking about? But it's a brilliant film. The heart of it is this sort of this idea that there's this gentleman named Truman Burbank. He's played by Jim Carrey. And he doesn't realize it, but he has been born into a TV show. From the time he was like a little baby, he's in it. So his whole world, he doesn't realize it, but it's all in a sense sort of fake, and it's not actually, it appears spontaneous, but it's not really spontaneous. There's sort of a whole system around him. So for example, like he lives in Sea Haven, and this town called Sea Haven, and it's a TV set. It's a giant TV set that can be seen from space. His wife, it's not really his wife. She's a paid TV actor. His boss, his best friend, his father. I mean, at least who he thinks of as his father. Like, these are all paid actors. So this is sort of, he lives in this sort of reality for a number of years, actually like up into his 30s, until one day this happens. And let's go ahead and roll.
Good morning.
Morning. Good morning.
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Yeah.
Morning, Truman.
Morning, Spencer. Hey, Pluto. Oh, no.
Oh,
Get down.
he won't hurt you.
Get down. Yeah, I know. It's just me.
Come on, Pluto.
Here's a news flash just then. An aircraft in trouble began shedding parts as it flew over Sea Haven just a few moments ago. Oh. Wow. Luckily no one was hurt. But hey, how do you feel today? That's good. You thinking of flying somewhere?
Nope.
Oh, good. This is Classical Fly with Classical Drive, so why don't you forget about the perils of flying? Settle back and let this music calm you down.
That's a brilliant concept. So this is what Truman didn't realize, is that he was living according to a script. And of course, this was sort of a general script. It had some flexibility. He could, live his life and make decisions. Does he want to wear this suit or that suit? Does he want to, hang out with this person or that person? Does he want to work at this place or that place? But there are only like a few options. Why? Because there's sort of a whole system. He didn't realize this, but there was a whole system around him that was guiding the choices he was making. It was exerting this influence on him. But he wasn't even aware of it. He wasn't even conscious of it. He thought he was just living his life until he realized he was living according to a script, which brings me to this quote. I was watching this documentary recently where it was about Jim Carrey, and he's talking about The Truman Show. He's sort of reflecting on it and what it sort of meant to him, and he says this: "The Truman Show really became a prophecy for me. It is constantly reaffirming itself as a teaching almost, as a real representation of what I've gone through in my career and what everybody goes through when they create themselves, to be popular or to be successful. It's not just show business, it's Wall Street, it's anywhere. You go to the office and you put a monkey suit on and you act a certain way and you say a certain thing and you lie through your teeth sometimes and you do whatever you need to do to look like a winner." This leads me to my first point this morning. My friends, number one, we are all living from a script. We are all living from a script. This is something that just happens. One way to put it is we all get scripted. We've all been scripted. This happens through, I think, two ways, sort of nurture and socialization. By nurture, I mean like families of origin are really powerful here. Parents, siblings, close friends, mentors. That these are folks who in essence sort of give us ways of living, right? And by the way, I'm not saying that all those ways are bad. Like a script that we've been given can actually be something really powerful and beautiful and godly. But the reverse can also be true, right? And maybe you in your life have had to kind of overcome some of the script you were given early in your life, certain messages about the meaning of life, about who you are, about what's important, about what really constitutes, what makes up the good life. And you have a certain script that you're sort of living into. So this happens through nurture, but it also happens, I think, through socialization. This would be through sort of the institutions that we participate in, through the churches we're a part of, the schools we're a part of, the clubs, the sports teams, just all these sort of ways. And we just, through that, again, it just happens. We get scripted. We look around, people are valuing these things, people are pursuing these things, and we're like, oh, okay, I get it, and we start to take our cues. Oh, okay, so first I'm gonna try to, be good, and I'm gonna go to school, I'm gonna get a job that pays as much money as possible, and we kind of just start to follow the script. This is just what we do. Number two, though, the dominant script in our culture, I think, is careerism and consumerism. Again, it's not that there aren't other scripts or other ways of living, but these are the two sort of most popular scripts that I see us following. And some of where I get that is, what do we give our lives to? Often we will sacrifice everything on the altar of career, and we'll sacrifice everything on the altar of acquiring more, getting more status symbols, the nicer car, the nicer house, the nice clothing, just sort of the accessories, and we just sort of pursue this. And it's really interesting that what's behind those two things, career and consumerism, behind them is the economy. See, as sort of a culture, the GDP, the gross domestic product, we are pursuing economic growth at all costs. This is sort of the script, because we were kind of convinced this would lead us to the good life, which is partly true, that in essence, we live in the most prosperous nation in world history. I mean, the Western world is absolutely unbelievable, just unprecedented levels of prosperity and such. I mean, it's just amazing, but it has a shadow side, doesn't it? One way to kind of think of it is this: we no longer work to live, we live to work and to purchase. See, in the past, you worked in order to have your life. Now the work just is the life. It's not like a means to some other end. It is the end, either the work itself or the purchasing of things. And so this is just sort of what we what we've been sort of socialized into. It's just the script that we're following. But number 3, I think you'll probably agree that in many ways the dominant script is a failure. A few statistics, that over 40 million adults in the United States, that's almost 20% of the population, are currently being treated for depression and or anxiety. Almost 80% of drivers express significant anger, aggression, or road rage behind the wheel at least once in the past year. Guilty. What happens? It's just, and I wonder why this is. Like, it's often, right, it's not about the actual driving, right? When there's someone in front of us and they're slowing us down, it's not actually just about that moment. It's this feeling of offense. Like, don't you get, my life is so incredibly stressful that I can't handle this moment. That's sort of what road rage is. It's not about the actual car and driving around and, oh no, I'm going to be 30 seconds later. No, it's I can't handle my life, and it just bubbles over. It just boils over. Yes, 80%. More than 10% of U.S. children live with a parent with alcohol problems, according to a 2012 study. The divorce rate continues to hover at about 50% for most couples. And that even holds in the church, which makes me wonder largely if we're following the dominant script in our culture. But number 4, Jesus is the author of a new script. Can I get an amen? Jesus is the author of a new script, and his script is not centered on career and consumerism, because he knows that's a recipe for small, self-absorbed, sad living. But his script is centered on a radical love. A love that's not lost in itself, but a love that gives itself away. A love that knows that it's all about relationship. All that the whole meaning and purpose of life is loving God and loving others. His script is about a radical love, a love that looked down on us when we were lost in our selfishness, in our self-absorption. And he said, I've sent them the prophets, but they haven't listened. So now I'm going to send them my son. A love that looked at us, knowing we were lost and confused in our own scripts, and said, I'm going to the cross to set them free. A love that said, death cannot hold me. And because it cannot hold me, it cannot hold you. I'm writing a new script for humanity, a new way of living, and I'm inviting anyone that wants it to participate, Jesus said. That's why in Matthew chapter 11, Jesus says this. He says, come to me, all you who are weary and burdened. Anyone relate to that kind of living? Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke. That word yoke in the first century, every rabbi had their yoke. That meant their teaching. In other words, their script. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke, my teaching, my script, it's an easy and a light one. Number 5, the entry point for this new script is baptism. The entry point. How do you join in with this new script? It's baptism. Back in the really early church, they had this sort of elaborate saying that before someone was baptized, before a pastor or church leader would baptize someone, they would say this. This is like really intense. They say, "Do you renounce the devil and all his works, the vain pomp and glory of the world, and all sinful lusts of the flesh?" That's pretty intense. I wonder if I'll make Curtis, do you hereby renounce? I mean, now here's what's interesting. I know that language, that's not like, we don't really, that's sort of fallen out of favor in the church. We don't really quite use that. Do you renounce, But notice, what is that saying? That's a really interesting statement, isn't it? What's that saying? That's basically saying, do you renounce the dominant script? That's what it's saying. Are you going to continue just to live for yourself, just getting and acquiring and getting and acquiring and living a small, sad life? Or are you going to receive the Jesus script? Are you going to open yourself up to a new thing, a new reality? See, that's what baptism is. It's this saying yes to a new script, a whole new way of living. And that's why in just a few minutes, we'll go into the cafeteria and we're going to witness as Curtis Nelson undergoes those baptismal waters and renounces the old script and embraces the new one. It's going to be really, really powerful. But before we do that, number 6, communion reminds us of the heart of the Jesus script. In other words, it's communion where we remember the center of the Jesus script. You see, because at the heart of Christianity is crucifixion and resurrection. Crucifixion, resurrection. This part of the story where Jesus goes to the cross to open up new life for us, to set us free from the scripts that have dominated our lives and left us miserable. And this morning, I really do believe there are a number of you that you know in your heart of hearts right now that there's a script you've been living, and it's not the Jesus script, and it has left you miserable. But Jesus says, I'm through crucifixion and resurrection, I'm opening up a new script. Now, I know we've got a number of folks here, and not everyone's really familiar with that language of communion. And so I want to sort of open this up and explain it a little bit. So on the night before Jesus was betrayed, he was in this upper room with his disciples. And they're sharing this final meal. And so he takes this loaf of bread, and he holds it up, and he breaks it. And he says, "This is my body." And then he holds up this cup of wine. And he says, this is my blood. Whenever you eat this bread, whenever you drink this cup, remember me. In other words, remember the new script. Remember what's happened. Remember the new life I'm offering you. And so for 2,000 years now, the church has gathered just like this and come forward to receive the bread and the cup. And that's what we get the profound privilege of doing today. And before we do that, I wanted to cover just a few details. One is, I know some people get a little anxious, like how are we going to do this communion and, how are we going to do this? So there's going to be instructions up on the screen. So it's okay, you can stay chill. It's going to be very clear. I'm just going to come forward, just form a line. You can just tear off a piece of bread, dip it in the cup. You can take it right there. You could come kneel at the front and take it. You could return to your seat, take it there, just however you want to do it. So that's one thing. Second, in order to sort of honor our folks in recovery from substance abuse and such, we use non-alcoholic wine, aka grape juice. So anyway, that's just a way of honoring them. So if that's a concern for you, no worries. Finally, we also, actually this week's a little bit different. So if you are the parent of a very, very young child, like a toddler or like in the nursery, like a baby, after you receive communion, if you could go and pick them up from kids ministry and then meet us back in here. Or if we've already kind of left, you can go in the cafeteria because we want to sort of cut down on the lag time. So after you take communion, just go ahead and do that. Now, if you have older kids, their teachers are going to just meet us in the cafeteria. So if you've got Zone or Zone Junior, don't worry, your children will be there to greet you. And then last, we practice what's called an open table, meaning if you're here today and you want to meet with Jesus, then you come. I don't feel the need to defend Jesus' table, for him. Jesus he's ready in here and ready to meet with you. So if you want to meet with him, that's amazing. Come. Cool? So, all right. I'm going to close this out with an invitation to the table. And it goes like this. This is the table, not of the church, but of the Lord. And it is made ready for those who love him and for those who want to love him more. So come. You who have much faith, and you who have little, you who have been here often, and you who have not been here long, you who have tried to follow, and you who have failed, come. Come, because it is the Lord who invites you, and it is his will that those who want to meet him should meet him here. Come to the table. Amen. Amen.
we're about to take up our offering, and if you are visiting here, if this is not your church family normally, we just want to allow you to just sit and enjoy this service. It's our gift to you, so please don't feel obligated to give. But if you are a part of our New Hope family, if this is your home and these are your people and this is your tribe, thank you for what you give. Thank you for allowing us to continue to bless things here and around the world with what you give. So we're going to go ahead and sing this last song. You guys feel free to stand with us as we close out the service, and then Bruce will dismiss us in a moment.
Yes, I will build my life upon your love. It is a firm foundation, and I will put my trust in you alone, and I will not be shaken. Yes, I will build my life upon your love. It is a firm foundation, and I will put my trust in you alone, and I will not be shaken. And holy, there is no one like you. There is none beside you. Open up my eyes in wonder. Show me who you are and fill me with your heart and lead me in your love to those around
We just want to thank you all for being here with us for this part of the service. We do have the second part coming up, and we would ask that you just meet us out in the cafeteria for the baptism as we celebrate Curtis and this new beginning for him. And, with that being said, the service that was shared today and the worship, it just kind of reminds us that we all have a new beginning. And I really feel like that 2018 is going to be good for all of us. If you haven't already gotten your children, we ask that you please go get them and then meet us in the cafeteria. The older ones, as Brett said, the teachers will be bringing them out there. After we get through with the baptism, we are going to have our community meal, and I was just informed that we have tons of pizza and chicken and all kinds of stuff, so we ask, please, please, please stay and have lunch with us, okay? Thank you, and if y'all would just go ahead and head to the cafeteria, and we'll start the baptism. Thank you.